what's up, you guys? Today's look is inspired by American Horror Story Cult, the season that is out in 2017. I love this season, and this look was also inspired by LA Max Special Effects. I'll put a link in the description below because they have an awesome tutorial. Well, I hope you like this, and let's get started. So, I know this is a little bit different than what I normally do on my channel, but it is a lot of fun, and I'm planning on doing lots of body art this holiday because I love Halloween and body art is still art. So I really hope you guys enjoy this, and I hope that I bring you lots of things that you can bring into your own arsenal and have an amazing Halloween and create something amazing. Alright, so you are going to need some all-purpose flour. You're going to need a cup for the salt dough that we're going to use to make the bees, and then just kind of random amounts for the beehive. You're going to need regular table salt. We're going to use half a cup of that for the dough for the bees, and also half a cup of water, and a measuring cup, of course, so you can measure it all out. You're also going to need a bowl. So we're going to take our bowl and we're going to put a cup of flour into it. Now we're going to add half a cup of salt. This is just regular table salt. I think I got this for like 43 cents or something at Walmart. So very inexpensive. Just pour that in. Now one thing that you'll want to do is mix all this up at this stage. I didn't, so it made it a little bit harder. It's just something I forgot about. Now, it takes about half a cup of water total to make this mixture, but I added a little bit at a time just so I could get it all mixed up. It's going to make a mess. You might want to wear gloves. Totally up to you, or use a utensil. I just like to use my hands. So I just mix, add a little bit of water, mix, add a little bit of water until I get the correct consistency. Now you could use moldable plastic to make the little bees, or any type of clay that you want. I just didn't have any of the moldable plastic on hand, and I didn't feel like baking the clay. So I made this very cheap, easy to work with recipe. Then you can always add a little bit more flour to the top of the dough and also your hands just to make it a little less sticky. That's what you see me doing here. Now this is about the consistency that you want. So I'm just taking my dough and I'm going to just start rolling out little cylinders. They don't have to be perfect because, you know, they're just bee-shaped. So I'm going to roll out several little cylinders and then some even smaller cylinders that are going to be for the heads. I'm making each bee a slightly different size and then tapering off one end for a little bit of an illusion of a stinger. Now I did take some liquid latex and I dipped a pencil in that just to attach the liquid latex to the end of the body. This was a pencil I really didn't care about, and it was getting stuck in liquid latex throughout the tutorial anyway, so that's what I did. I just used the tip to add a little bit of liquid latex just to make that head stick to the body. So now I'm just going to take some flour. I didn't really measure it out. I just dumped some, and I'm going to dump some liquid latex into there, and then I'm going to stir it up. And normally I work with less amounts than this at a time, but I knew that I wanted a really big, harder spot in the middle, so I made a much harder dough than I normally would. And then I just continue to mold it, add a little bit more liquid latex, add a little bit more flour as needed, and then I just squish it out onto my mat. Now for the rest of the flour liquid latex mixture, we're going to go slower. You can't see it in this shot, and I'm very sorry, but I take just a little bit of flour, mix it with liquid latex until I get the right consistency where it's more of a paste than a dough like I just did. So I'm just going to continue to mix up, add some, and build upon all of these layers until I get a nice piece that's going to fit over my eye. And you really want this to be pasty now that you are at this stage, because we're going to be coming in and adding those honeycombs here in just a few minutes. So you want to be able to poke that honeycomb through there. So this part takes a while. That's why I love going fast forward, because I'm very, very slow at everything. So you would not want to sit here while I made the whole tutorial in real time. So as I get closer to the edges, I am flattening it out some, because I want it to sit smoothly against my face, and it just makes it a little bit easier if it fades out where it's flatter. Then I'm going to take my finger here, and I just kind of smooth it out where I want. Now, to make the honeycombs, I'm dipping a pencil into the liquid latex, and I'm using the blunt side of the pencil that has the actual hexagon shape, and I'm just kind of randomly poking holes, some thicker, some thinner. And then I'm taking a hair dryer and just going over that for a few minutes, but this is going to need to dry overnight. I just kind of wanted to set it the best that I could before I went to bed. So it also helped to define some of the hexagons a little bit more, because once they dried just a little bit, they were a little bit more able to be molded. So I kind of went through and poked a few more of the holes a little bit more. So after you create this, you want to let the bees and the honeycomb dry overnight, and then you can paint, which is the fun part. Alright, so our honeycomb has dried overnight. So I'm coming through with some yellow craft paint and putting a base layer down using a cosmetic sponge. Then I'm coming through with some red to mix that up to a little bit of an orange. And I'm also going to take the yellow while I have it out and go ahead and paint my little bees and get a base coat down for them so they can dry. And with this honeycomb, it's very important to just continue layering and layering colors. I'm alternating between yellows and reds and oranges, and then here in a minute you'll see me putting some browns. And in between layers, I sometimes would take a hair dryer just to kind of set it so it wasn't mixing so much. Then I'm just painting inside all the holes with some yellow, just to make sure that I get good coverage there. And then I'm coming back through with some more orange and just building and building. And then I'm going to take my paintbrush here in just a second. There we go. And I'm just filling in all of those holes with a dark brown, and then coming through and doing the very top of the hole with some light brown to give it some dimension. And then going over the whole thing with some yellow, oranges, and brown tones again, just to build even more layers and just really make that seem like those holes go really deep. Alright, now we're just going to paint some little black stripes on our little bees. They don't have to be perfect, but you know, just some little bee-like stripes. And then we're going to paint each head black as well. Now it's time to super glue on some wings. These wings were just cut out of a little cellophane bag that I had laying around. I just cut some little wing-like shapes, because what's a bee without a wing? And be very careful when you're working with the super glue, because it gets all over your fingers and it is horrible, horrible to work with. I hate this stuff, but it works really well, so just be careful. Alright, now the fun part, to the face. So I'm taking a white face paint and I'm just coming through and painting my whole face white, because the American Horror Story poster, she's very, very, very pale. Not that I'm not pale, but she's even more pale than I am. So I'm just coming through and painting my whole face and my neck white, doing a couple of layers just to kind of get some pretty good coverage going. Now I'm going to come through with some red eyeshadow and do the bottom of my eyes and also the top of my eyes as well. I'm just kind of doing a little bit of a liner in the red. Then I'm coming through and putting a little bit of brown on top of my lid. Now, she tends to have these deep shadows around her cheeks, So I'm coming through with some black eyeshadow and using that to contour. Looks kind of crazy here, but it turned out pretty well in the end. I'm also going to put a little bit of shadow underneath my nose and then on the sides of my nose to make my nose appear skinnier like hers is. And then I just kind of blend it all out. I'm putting a little bit of the black in the corners of my eyes as well. Now, I'm using two different lipsticks here. One is like a big deep berry lipstick, and then the other will be a bright red. She has these really cool top of her lips going on, so I'm using a paintbrush dipped in my lipstick to create that effect. And I'm sorry I'm so out of frame. I was using a mirror that magnified, and I couldn't be very far away or I couldn't see. Now I'm taking that same lipstick that I just put on and I'm making lines go on the bottom of my eye going up through the top of my eye. Here's a close-up of my lips. I'm coming through with some black eyeshadow and just really deepening and those corners and outlining my lips as well, just to really make it pop there. Now I'm taking my brush and just blending out that line a little bit, blending it down into my lip, making that berry color a little bit darker. Now I'm coming through with my bright red lipstick and putting that all in the middle for a little bit of an ombre look. Now I'm coming through with some red body paint and putting that on top as well because the red didn't show up quite red enough for me. Just using a paintbrush with some red body paint. Now it's time to fit the honeycomb. Mine was way too big, so you'll see me just putting it up to my eye and then using scissors to trim it down and then putting it up to my eye and trimming it down until I get the correct shape that I want. Now once I did that, I took some liquid latex and began sticking it to my face using liquid latex on my finger. Anywhere that there was a big gap in between my skin and the honeycomb, I just stuffed some cotton balls under there and filled in that gap a little bit. Now the cotton ball I did soak in liquid latex to begin with. That way it would stick and give me some extra protection there to keep the honeycomb stuck to my face. Gosh, I cannot talk today. So this is a very time-consuming process. Since you are putting it on your eye, watch out for your hairline. I did get some liquid latex in my hair, and that was no fun to get out. Don't worry about getting the liquid latex on top of your honeycomb because we are going to be painting it again. But you just really want to get that stuck. And I found that putting it on there and then holding it for a few seconds to let that liquid latex dry a little bit really helped. And once I got it going, it started sticking really well. So I was really happy with that result. It was very difficult only having one eye to work with and then also making sure I kept up with the camera and my mirror. So I need practice with that. Now I'm just taking those bees that I made and using some more super glue and putting a tiny bit on there and then gluing them to the honeycomb. Now I'm coming through with a mixture of flour and liquid latex. I made a paste out of it like we did before. And I'm just using that to smooth out that rough transition that was going on. And just filling in those cracks and crevices. I'm just putting it on and then using my finger to smooth it out a little bit. I did take my pencil that I used to make the hexagons earlier and just kind of poked in there too, so there was a smoother transition going on. It looked more like it was fading out. Now in the Ellie Mac video, she used putty to make a great transition. I would have done that if I would have had it, but I didn't, so I went with what I had. Now I'm just coming back through and using my body paints to add some yellows, oranges, and browns, and just kind of make that fade into my skin some. And make it look a little bit more natural if this look could be natural. So here it is. It is done. So here's an up-close view. You saw it earlier in black and white in that little creepy video I did. But here it is in full color. I really liked the look of it. In the Ellie Mac video, they also used food coloring and hair gel to make the honey. I didn't have any, so for this video, I just threw some actual honey on top. I would not suggest that if you're going out with this look, but I wanted to get the effect to show you guys what it would look like. So it was a lot of fun. I hope you enjoyed it. Please comment below with any comments that you have. Did you like it? Did you not like it? Do you want to see more Halloween looks? Is there a specific Halloween look you want to see? Like I said, I don't claim to be a professional at Halloween makeup, but I do have fun with it, and I love Halloween. So I hope that you learned something from this and that you enjoyed the video. So until next time, bye. Thank you so much for watching. You can click to check out another video. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel to stay up to date on the newest videos that come out. Please remember to comment below on what you'd like to see next. I want to hear from you because you guys help guide me on where to go.